Dude, what's the craziest trip you've been on? Like film trip? Because you've been in from back in the day before it was a formalized film industry to now where it's pretty big budgets to get a film going these days.
Yeah, I've been on all sort. Like for instance, this trip that I did to Peru, it was really small budget, and then like for instance, far end of the spectrum would be north of Nightfall, where we basically went to the North Pole and brought a whole team. Um, that one was by far the gnarliest trip I've been on
What
in terms
the
of
the
like,
North Pole?
yeah, the north of Nightfall trip, because it was just so intensive to get us in our like gear up there. It was just so much logistics. It was mind boggling how much it took to get it all done and wrapped. And at the same time, it was still an experiment, because like you can Google Earth as much as you want, but the biggest deciding factor on whether it's going to be good or rideable at all is how soft the dirt is. And sometimes we've gotten to places and be like, this is unrideable. It looks insane and amazing, but it's just like dinner plates on dinner plates, like shale. And it's just, you can't slow down, you can't dig in, and you get skunked. So like even that trip was still a big gamble. And
Did
it's
no
like,
one
man, to
was
like,
no one on the ground there, like giving you feedback? Has no one been there? Like what? How much intel did you have?
well, we originally, me and Zinc, we went a year before and we scouted. And when I say scout, we like landed with this crazy twin otter plane, and we got out and we hiked around a couple spots, and we deemed that there was some rideable terrain, and it was like enough there that we still had to throw a gamble that we were confident that we could get some really good terrain out of it, because like we didn't have the time or the means to really hike around to like all the spots, but we just kind of picked one or two that was really close to where we could land. And we actually got stuck in the plane once in mud. That was the first for me. And I was like, I'll never forget saying to the pilot, I was like, because he's basically got this twin otter prop plane, and when he goes like this with the throttle, he's basically like spinning the props, like going forward and back, forward and back. And I asked him, was like, how much fuel you got? He's like, well, I got about 3 or 4 more gives with the throttle to try to get us out of here, and then we're done. I'm like, what do you mean done? He's like, well, we're gonna have to wait for someone to come pick us up. I'm like, wait a minute, you like calculate your fuel down to like that like minuscule amounts? He's like, yeah, as bush pilots, that's how we do it, because you don't want to pack too much, and obviously don't want to pack too little. And I was like, holy cow, okay, well, we better freaking start digging. And so we got out there with the shovels, and we got rocks and like put pads so that the wheels could get up out of the, because they were stunk in the mud, like fully wedged in the mud. And like, and the X factor was like, okay, well, how long is it going to take for someone to get here? He's like, about 2.5 days at best.
Did
And
you in
we
the
like
North
we were up,
Pole?
yeah, we were in the middle of absolutely nowhere. It's freezing, and like we brought like a lunch for like a sandwich and a little bit of water and everything. So I'm like, man, this could be, it's turned into a movie here pretty quick. Just this experience, if we don't get unstuck. And sure enough, we prepped it all, and we ended up getting out and yeah, saved the day and touched down back at the base with maybe a couple ounces of fuel left in the fucking tank.
How
So
do
yeah,
you
we
even
went.
get there? Where do you fly and shit to get to the North Pole?
Oh man, it's intense. Like we basically fly to the east coast of Canada, and then from there the planes get smaller and smaller and smaller, and then you're basically up into like the north, where it's like really north. And then it goes from like a little tiny airport with like not even a building, to like the next place where we landed, which was a weather station. It was called Eureka, just off of Axel Heiberg Island, and it's the furthest northern weather station on the planet. And sort of like, because once you get up into the like the polar circle, it's all pretty close, like Greenland and Iceland. It's not very far, as the crow flies.
No shit. So you almost get stuck there. But you say a year later,
Yeah.
yeah. That was did
Hmm.
Clay was Clay one of the filmers? I think this was like the heavy
Hmm.
production that Red Bull
Yeah.
kicked up for, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, it was insane. You know, we had all the toys out there, and you know, we had some of the best guys. We had the young guns like Tom Van Steenbergen and Carson Storch, and then you know, me and Zink, bit of the veterans, kind of showing the young guns the way.